So I just happened to find the most insane rune farm that I think I've ever seen so far in Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. It requires 0 fighting. It'll net you between about 80,000 to 125,000 runes per minute, which equates to over 1 million runes every 10 minutes. And although it is in the Rao Ancient Ruins area of the map, which normally would require you beating 2 of the first 3 main path bosses, I also figured out how to get there without beating any bosses from literally the moment you spawn into the DLC. So no matter where you guys are up to right now, you will be able to access this crazy rune farm as soon as you're done watching this video. If you are new here and this video helps you guys by the time you've finished, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button. There is so much more Elden Ring content on the way just like this. With that being said, let's get stuck right into it. Now, firstly, for the, prerequisites, I'm gonna leave timestamps down below for any of you who are already able to get to this side of Grace called the Rao Ancient Ruins East. If you can get to this point, then you guys can essentially skip ahead to the end of the video. Whereas if you're not here yet, I will have to show you guys how to get there. So like I said, be sure to make the most of the timestamps. Now, to bypass the second main path boss and get through to the Scadu Atlas area of the map, it is actually very easy to do. So from the Gravesite Plain side of Grace, where you spawn when you begin the DLC, simply head north until you reach the 3-path cross side of Grace, then head northeast across the bridge to the castle front side of Grace. From here, you want to head down this little path until you come to what seems like a cliff blocking your way, but over here on the left, you can actually jump down and ride all the way down this sort of cliff area until you make it to this little sort of pond area at the bottom with a massive crab. Then just keep on riding straight past that and all the way up along this path. If you keep on going, you will eventually find a spirit spring. Now, yours will probably look like this, and if it does, you will just need to head in the same direction, and up on these rocks, you'll find a pile of white stones. Just attack that and it will break the seal, and then use the spirit spring to jump up to the second one, and then from here, use that to jump to the Fort of Reprimand. Now, once you're here, run along this path, running past the enemies to get to this side of Grace. Then head to the left here and jump down, being careful not to fall all the way down into the hole, although to be fair, there are actually some good rewards down there. But from here, you can just exit the fort through the main gate over here on the right, jump back on Torrent, and then there is actually another side of Grace that you may as well touch on your way. Now, from here, simply head through this path. There will be a dragon fighting some enemies, but just run past it and head north until you find this side of Grace called Morth Ruins. And congratulations, you've now pretty much accessed a whole new area of the map without having fought the second boss. Though I will say that boss fight is so much fun, so I would definitely recommend still doing it at Castle Ensis. Now, from Morth Ruins, you want to follow this path that I'm showing you guys down through this sort of mine section. It's pretty simple really, and it is next to impossible to get lost. You essentially just want to keep on heading down until you reach this rooftop here, then just fall down onto this ledge and turn left and jump over to this area where you'll eventually come to a ladder, climb up that, and once you're at the top, you will be in Bonnie Village, where you can find another side of Grace. From here, you'll just head down along this pathway, watch out for the enemies, and then you'll come to this broken bridge. Just head to the right here and sort of jump across the ledge, and then from here, you'll find another bridge where you can keep on crossing that to a secondary bridge as well, and then once you've crossed that, there will be another side of Grace. Now, from here, it is essentially a straight shot to where you need to be. Just follow this path and sort of avoid all of the wolves as well as the massive furnace golem that will cause a little bit of trouble if you stop. So just right on past that, and eventually you will find this side of Grace called the Church District High Road. Now, from here, simply head northwest into this tunnel, and eventually you'll reach the Church District entrance, at which point you are technically in the Shadow Keep, which means that we are almost there. Now, when you get here, it will look a little bit different for you guys than it does for me, as there will be a lot of water down below these rooftops, but don't worry, just follow the same path that I'm showing here. Jump down onto the rooftop and head right, jump across here onto this broken building, and eventually you'll make it over here to the next rooftop. Now, watch out for the enemy that shoots you over on the right, and then eventually you'll get to this area here. Just jump across onto this archway, and keep in mind it is pretty hard. I actually failed this on the first attempt, but once you land on that, just go up onto this rooftop with the hole in it, drop down onto this archway here, and then head diagonally to the right along this path till you find another hole in the floor. Drop down and just sprint through this area following this path. There is a tough enemy here again, but just run straight past them, and then eventually you'll find a second one, at which point just turn left and cross here. It will again be water either side of this walkway for you guys, but once you run along this path, you will come to a lift here. Now, take it up, and eventually it'll lead you to the storehouse back section side of Grace. From here, you then want to just jump over this edge, and you'll find another side of Grace literally about 10 meters away. And at this point, you guys have now officially bypassed the third boss as well, though again, I would highly recommend fighting that boss in the Shadow Keep once you guys feel comfortable doing so. So now from here, we're on the home stretch, and so you want to head left from this Site of Grace, you want to run past these enemies and use the lift to go down to the next level. From here, you just want to go right and follow along this path, down the stairs, and then into the room with the pots. Run past those and then head out here, and just watch out on the right here. There is an enemy that will attack you. Just dodge past them and then go down these stairs, and then out through this area, you will find another Site of Grace. From here, just use this door over on the right of the main door, and once you're outside, you can actually jump on Torrent and just ride past all of these enemies. Now, there will be a tough enemy at the end, so be sure to watch out for him. But once you're past him, just run up these stairs to another lift and use that to get to the Viaduct Minor Tower Site of Grace. And from here, we are only one stop away from where we need to be. Head out the door, jump on Torrent, and follow this path that will take you to a sort of temple area with a heap of ghost enemies as well as plenty of scorpions. So just ride past all of those. You will come to a door which you'll need to open, ride through that, and then down and around to the left until you will eventually come to this area where again you'll need to open another door. Now head through there and you'll come to this hole in the ground where you can just sort of fall down using the spirit spring. Then head straight and to the left, then left again, and from here it is essentially a straight shot. Just ride past the tough knight enemy and eventually you'll come to another Mikola Cross as well as the Rao Ancient Ruins East Site of Grace. And finally, this is where we're going to be doing the rune farm. At this point, all the hard work is done and now it is time to sit back and get rich. Now, once you've made it, there is a few key things to note about this method before you get started. One, if you have the Golden Scarab Talisman from the base game, be sure to equip that as that will boost your rune acquisition by 20%. And then two, if you have any Gold Pickled Foul Feet or the new item from the DLC called Golden Horn Tenders, those will both increase your rune acquisition even further if you use them to somewhere between 50 to 60% extra runes in total compared to doing this without either of those or the scarab. So just keep that in mind, and that is why I said it will net you anywhere from about 80,000 to 125,000 per minute, because it will essentially just change depending on those items. Now, the second thing to note is that you want to pass time until it's nightfall, as this increases the odds of a different enemy spawning that gives slightly more runes than the regular enemies we're about to farm. It's not a huge difference, so it doesn't really matter if you do it in the day, but in my opinion, it is definitely still worth doing this at nighttime. Now, once you're ready to start, literally all you need to do is walk over to this little ledge next to the pillar, and off in the distance, you'll see a furnace golem stand up and become aware of your presence. Now, this fella is the one who's going to be doing all of the work for us. After about 15 to 20 seconds of him standing up and then beginning to kind of swirl around to power up his attack, he'll kneel down and send a massive spiral of flame towards you. Now, as soon as you see the spiral get fired, you just want to wait like half a second, and then you can turn back and just run to the Site of Grace and rest. What this does is it will kill all of the enemies that are on that bridge there, giving you the runes for those kills, but the spiral actually hangs around long enough that once you get back up from resting, obviously those enemies respawn, but they will instantly die again from the same spiral, meaning you're kind of doing this twice in one single attempt. And upon timing it, one attempt was taking me 31 seconds to get this to work, netting me over 60,000 runes in that attempt, as you can see. But again, keep in mind that is with the Golden Scarab and the Golden Horn Tender in use. But like I said, even without those, this will give you a crazy return. Now, it's important to note, once you stand back up and he sort of kills them that second time, you will need to rest again. So you're essentially resting twice in a row to respawn them. And then from here, it is as simple as rinsing and repeating that method for as long as you want. Walk to the ledge, get him to attack. Once he fires, just run to the Site of Grace and rest. Quickly stand back up and get all of those runes, rest again, and bang, you're now making a minimum of about 5 million runes per hour without really doing anything at all. So that is it for what I think is easily the most insane rune farm that I've found to date in Elden Ring, guys. If you feel like this video helped you out, then like I said, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. That would massively help me out. And there is going to be a whole lot more Elden Ring content just like this over the next few weeks and months. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.